All right, 8 p.m. Berlin time, and I tried to make this live streaming thing. So let's see where it goes. So what I would like to do today is, a lot of live coders out there have these fancy setups. And what you see there is the tool that I'm using, which is Streamlabs OBS. And I would like to build my own custom setup too. And as a first action, I would like today to bring in a custom chatbot that plays around or changes the camera that you see in the top right corner here. So what I have set up right now is that I have I have Snap Camera running, and when I now change, for example, to the beardless version here, this should change. Well, that starts great. Here we go. So this should now change, should shave me on stream. I'm still very much amused by this beardless thing. So what I would like to try to do today is to implement a custom Twitch bot that reacts to certain commands to, for example, shave me, or I don't know, what do we have here? I have a couple of favorites running already. I'm pretty much into this one too. And I would like that this is controllable via chat, and we're gonna do this whole thing via Node.js, and then let's see how this goes. Oh, my base cable is not running well here. So for now, I'm gonna turn this whole thing off, and then we're gonna have a look at how we can implement this. Sounds good? All right. And how in a streaming backend directory. And what I would like to do now is I would like to write a Node script that changes basically, let's get rid of this one, that changes basically my camera. And I had a little bit of tryout already, and I think technically that's gonna work, but let's see how this goes. So when I now go, for example, to the Twitch documentation, you can see that there's already an example available, which is this one. And theoretically, we should be fairly quick by implementing our custom chatbot with Node.js. So when I now switch to, let me clean that up. That is not very good here. When I now go to VS Code, I already have an index file available, which reads out process_env because I don't want to show all these tokens. And theoretically, what we could do is we could implement this bot example with just copy and pasting stuff. So let's see if that is going to work. So I'm going to Chrome. And the first thing that I see is here that we have a dependency, which is tmi.js. And for that, I will, first of all, do npm init in my project, which creates a package.json now. And here we should now be able to npm install -- save. And then let's have a look what it was. It was tmi.js. Here we go. So let's install that. And then I'm gonna copy over this whole thing, which is a custom dice command. Let's go right here. We're gonna go like this. And now I'm gonna bring that up here to have the variables available. And now let's just change some things here. So username. So this is the channel name. Oops. Oh no, it's not. Channel name will be Twitch channel, and bot username is this one, and the OAuth token will be this one. So all I did there so far is I really just followed the documentation that is included in the Twitch docs here. So you can get a token when you go, for example, here to follow the OAuth flow, and then this whole thing should work. And another thing that I think we need is Nodemon. Nodemon is a tool that you can use for node development. So let's have a quick look. Nodemon, here we go. And this automatically will restart when I restart the node process when I change some files and stuff. So let's just go in here and I assume that this should already work. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into our package JSON and we're going to define a start command. Start. And here we're going to do Nodemon index.js. All right. So when I now do npm start, we should already have something going on here. All right. that is not it, is it? So theoretically, what happens first is then when I hit save here, it should restart the process. All right. So that looks good. And now let's see if this whole thing works already. So the first thing, let's have a look at the code here first. So we have a little squiggly here, which I think we can ignore, and then it initializes a client, which makes sense. And then on message, it has a handler. All right. And on connected, I assume it will, sweet. It will just log out something that something is going on. Nice. So theoretically, we should already be, let's log out a message here and let's see if this works. Console log message. Here we go. So theoretically, let's bring that one on. Error, no response from Twitch. What happens now when I send a message to my own chat here? So let's see. Hello world. Is that coming up? Doesn't look like it is. Error, no response from Twitch. So where's this coming from? Let's have a look. It has a timestamp. I hope that I don't have to do something like doing auth flow on camera and stuff. That would be very, very unfortunate. So let's see, where's this message coming from? All right, let's have another look. Let's just Google it. So I have no idea. I assume that this is coming from the client itself. So let's have a look what Google says about this. Here we go. Well, that looks pretty much what we have here. All right. No response from Twitch. Bam, 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 bam. So what do we have? It is connected, but it's saying no response from Twitch. Dun, dun, dun. Does anybody have experience doing that? So let's have a look. Getting no response from Twitch. Sounds like preventing the connection or username password is invalid. You know what it is? I should load the environment variables first. All right, so what I did now is I just loaded the environment variables that we're accessing via process env. So let's kick that off again. Connected to chat. Well, that looks good. So what happens now when I send chat message here, hello world again. Unknown command, hello world. But this basically already says that something is happening. Something is happening. Sweet. So what we can do now is we can start playing around with this. So what is happening here? So we get the message and we have already some stuff available here. Like the command name is message trim. But why is it saying command is not available when I'm just pasting a message? Let's find out. So what I would like to do is I would like to have a collection of commands first. So let's define some commands. And I think that we should start with, should that be an array? Let's start like this. Shave. Let's go with shave. Or should it? Yeah, let's go like, let's maybe hardcode that first. Let's hardcode that first. So let's see what happens if we do, if we log the command name here, and I want to start things with command name. And let me just get rid of the terminal here and let's bring it up in VS Code. I think that's a better thing here. All right. Can I bump this file size somehow? Let's see. Terminal. Whoops. Terminal file size. Font size. Editor. Here we go. So let's change that to 20. Maybe 24. All right, with this we can go back to topic. So we'll now do again npm start. We could potentially, all right, and I don't want to have all this debug stuff here. And we have to load the environment variables again. Here we go. I should probably use a different tool so that it reads environment variables automatically. So but when I now, for example, go back to my chat here and I do shave, let's see what happens here. Unknown command shave. Ah, right. And this is coming from here. So we're already pretty cool here. So let's do something like if command name, we're going to make that a little bit prettier later. If command name equals shave, we're going to do console log shave Stefan. All right. And I'm going to get rid of all these kind of things because I don't need them anymore. Cool. So what we can now do is we can theoretically paste in the message with this shave Stefan. Cool. So now the question is how we can make this little Node script interfering or working with Snap Camera. And when we have a look here, for example, I did a little bit of digging deeper into this. So this is a Mac app that you can install. And when you now go, for example, you can have hotkeys. And what I'm aiming to do is that you could potentially trigger like a global hotkey, which we then map to change the camera live on stream depending on the command. So the way to do this, I'm now going back to my terminal and I'm gonna split that for a second because I have a different Node project already available. So when we now go into my projects directory, into streaming stuff, I have here already the directory automate stuff. And what I did here is that, let's see if that works. When I now run this Node script here, it should potentially change my camera already. Here we go. So it's a Node script that triggers automatically, and I'm still enjoying these kind of things. It's a Node script that triggers global shortcuts, and then with this, it is triggering the app to use something else. So what we could now do is we could close this thing and we could have a look at how we did this. So when I look at here, it was index.js. So let's have a look at the code. So first of all, I'm using something that is called robot.js. So let's install that one. So let's do npm install, whoops, npm install -- save robot.js, which looks cool. And then what we can do is we can require this. All right, let's do this one. Let's get in here and let's do, oh, what's going on here? Failed to install. We just want to try it again here. Let's see. Failed to install. Come on, you can do it. Okay, still failing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a new Nvmrc file, and I'm just going to switch to latest node here. So what is latest node? Node.js.org. Let's have a look. 12.18.4. 12.18.4, and I have NVM installed. So when I now go back one directory up and I'm going into my streaming backend again, it should change automatically the Node version. Dun, 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 which looks cool. Yep. And I have a lot of NVM default packages. So whenever I install a new version of NVM, it just makes sure that all these kind of things are in place. So this now might take a moment, but then I want to do a hard reset to make sure that the dependencies are all running with a new Node version. And then I'm gonna try to install Robot.js again, which should work. All right, so let's have a look how long this takes. And in the meantime, what we can do is we can have a look at the code here. Now I removed the reply handling. So let's have a look if there was reply handling. It was client say something, something, something. Okay, so let's do that too. And if that happens, we have a target here. Stefan shaved now. And afterwards, I would like to implement a timer to kind of get rid of the camera effect again. So let's do to do implement timer. Cool. So what we can then do is we can probably already start bringing in a map for all the commands. So when I go back to my terminal now again, so the way it works is that we will have the wobot, which comes in, and then we have to trigger this global command, which triggers global keystrokes or something. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do robot, and then let's just trigger the first one. Let's do 1 here, and then we want to trigger that with control. Here we go. So basically what this command will do, it will hit the global, or it will hit the keyboard with the number 1. And then it will do that with Control Alt in parallel, which are exactly the keyboard shortcuts that I have set up here. So let's see how the installation goes. Still going. So then what we could do is we could just say set timeout. We pass it a function. And then after 10 seconds, so that's in milliseconds, we just hit the same thing again. And then we might be able to say again, or to send something back to the chat. Let's say enough beardless Stefan. All right. So we can already clean up and we don't need the roll dice here. And apart from that, that looks fairly good to me. So now I'm fairly often in this npm install thing on camera recently. So that is a little bit unfortunate. So let's have a look. We do it like this. We can clean up a few things here. Let's do it like this. And then try to install a robot again, or Robot.js. Maybe what we can do right now is we can have a look at npm, how this worked. So I was actually figuring out how to trigger global keystrokes for quite a little bit. So this is a package. It has 10,000 stars, a bunch of downloads. I believe that works with Electron under the hood. So it's a fairly heavy thing here right now. So let's go back here. We're still running into errors for some stuff. Let's see. Come on. So that would be the first step that I would like to do. So implementing a chatbot that runs with Node.js. And then if this really works that quickly, all right, so cool. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to install Robot.js with a different Node.js dependency here. Okay, So this now probably downloads Electron, which is heavy by itself. You can do it. Nice. So now I'm going to do npm start again. So let's see what happens. So we're connected to the Twitch sockets API. And when I now go to the chat again, and I still have to. Did I enable this camera here? Let's get rid of that for a moment. All right. So when I now do again the shave command, let's see what. Ha. Okay. So what you just saw is. So I got some responses in the chat, which is good, but in the same time you saw that Streamlabs OBS has some shortcuts running for changing the scenes. So I was automatically cleaning up the scene here. So let's see if we can get rid of this somehow. So I have a few switch to scene things here. So let's just clean these up. I don't know if these are the problem here, but let's have a look. Okay, no keystrokes anymore. So let's trigger the command again. So let's see. So when I now do shave, okay, so the scene is not changing anymore, and the bot actually answered that. So that is cool. That is cool. So when we now go back, what we would like to, did it work now already? Wait, did that work? Did it trigger it? Did it change the camera already? So when we now do this again. Well, it really works already. Well, that is cool. So let's. Oh my god, that was way too easy. Does anybody else want to try that? So what should we do? I'm triggering one more time, and then I'm gonna start building up a proper map for these things. So I wrote now shave into my command here, which changes the camera, which is super nice. And then after 10 seconds, it should stop doing that again. Come on. Well, good enough. Okay. So what we now would have to do is we would have to have a proper map that triggers these kind of different commands and cameras that we have here. So what I would like to do is let's set up something here. How do we do that? So what we could do is we could do something like command map maybe, and then let's create a new map, and I have to look up the syntax for that. So let's go to JavaScript map, and we can define by key, and then we're going to define a function that does something. All right, so how is that? New map. Well, but that is red. Probably we don't want to. Okay, it's set. Do we have to do it like this? Isn't there an inline way to create a new map? Oh, I don't like that. All right, let's create a new file here, which we call commands.js. And what we're gonna do here is we're gonna say commands equals new map. And then we do, let's see, commands. We have to export this. So module exports commands. This now means when I go here, I should be able to, let's make that a const properly. And then let's do const require commands, and then we should have via auto-completion commands available. Nice. And the idea that I have here is that we should have inside of this thing, the condition shouldn't be hard-coded to a single command, but what we want to do is we want to do if commands has, and then command name, then we're gonna do is const command equals commands get command name to access the thing that is in there, command, let's look like this. So then we do something like run, and then we do we execute this, and then we set the timer, set timeout to, let's do cleanup, something like this, and then we set a timer to clean up after 10 seconds. So what we can now do is we can remove this here. Oh no, let me copy this and we can move that somewhere else. All right, so when I now go to my command, we can clean that command map up here. Let's get rid of this one. When I now go to commands, we can start building this up. So let's do commands set, and now we do shave, and we pass in an object. And what we definitely need is a run function, and we need a cleanup function, cleanup, and we need a comma here, I think. So what we can now do is let's push that one in. So we keep the log, and it should be execute, it should be run with the client so that we can log a message still. So we have to do here client, and we're gonna pass it to the client to the cleanup too, so that we can answer something here. So client, and with this we could now potentially do this. Let's bring that one in, and for the cleanup we don't want to have the timing handling here. So let's do this, and now we're missing a dependency here. So let's remove this one from here and bring that one here. Client say target. Okay, that is coming from the socket call. So let's do something like this. Client, I'm a big fan of putting in objects as arguments because it makes the whole thing a little bit easier to read afterwards. So here we can now do client target, and here we can do client target 2. Okay. So basically, let's see, when we now restart this, what we should have is, well, that it works in best case. All right, let's have a look. I'm going to my shave command here again, and let's do shave, which really is shaving me. And after 10 seconds, here we go, come on. Okay, I think that is already super cool. That was way quicker than I thought it will be. Okay, so let's move on here. So what we would like to do is that I probably, that we can iterate over this here to not have a lot of hard-coded commands. So how do we do this? I think that we can have a, let's do const snap map, maybe. Let's define all the commands that we have in here, and then I can map it to the index. So we have shave, then let's have a look. We have shave, we have dress up, we have hack, hack it, maybe. Let's do it like this. Then we have get a cat, and then we have Viking, and we have celebrate, and we have anime, maybe. All right, so what we can now do is we can iterate over the snap map for each, which will be which will have a callback function here. And now this will be the command, and this also will have an index. So in here, what we can now do is we can say commands set. This is the key, so it will be something like this. We're defining the exclamation point and the command here, and we're gonna set an object that has to have two functions, which is run again. So it's basically this here. Yeah, so it's this. So let's put this one in. So we have a run function. The only thing that we have to do is here we have to bring in the index. Ah, we have a message here. Okay, but we can change that in a moment. So let's bring in the index here too. So, and theoretically, we would now have already, how many is it? It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 commands. So I'm now gonna go into OBS again, and I'm gonna try another one. Let's say anime. Does that work? Oh, I have to put in something like this. Right. Well, I missed something here, but it looks like this works already. So what we can now do too is, for example, let's say hack it. I've clearly messed something up with the index, but it does seem to work. So when you now, okay. So that is not 1% what we want to do, but let's see what's going on. So first, I'm gonna change all these thingies here to be objects. That's the first thing that I'm gonna do, and they will have the command. They will have the command, and then we have to define some messages here. So that when we do this, we now should be able to destructure this here. And I want to have start message, and I want to do end message. Yeah, so that we can pass this one in here for the start, and that I want to pass this here for the end. So theoretically, what we could now do is we could add start message here, start message. All right, Stefan's shaved, and I could do end message, which is let's just drop. Let's not define the end message for now, and let's do something like enough. Cool. So with this, theoretically, let's have a look what happens when I do now shave. Looks like I broke it. Okay, what's happening? I don't think it's working anymore. So let's see. Command set. It is still triggering the logs. Let me move StreamYard just somewhere else here so that it looks a little bit easier for the stream. All right. So it is not working anymore. So let's have a look. So when we do here CLG for console log, and we say command start message, is index undefined maybe? So let's see, index. So I'm gonna do another command here, which is shave. Ah, it's index +1. Ugh. Because the shortcuts in the snap camera thing are, what did I do? What? Because the index, okay, I broke something fundamentally. Okay, so we do index +1 here. Here we go. So when we now go back to the chat, what we can do is shave. Whoa! So let's see. Index +1. Is that a string concatenation issue here? So let's do this. And let's do this, because I know that robot here needs a string to actually run. So let's restart this. Cool. So I'm gonna do another command here, something like this. Well, it well, it did shave. Okay. And here we go. Nice. So let's try the others. That was probably the problem with the. Okay. Let's define the start message for dress up. Let's do this, and they say something like looking sharp. Yeah, let's do that. So we now do dress up in the chat. Okay, I think that is already very funny, to be honest. All right. So let's just finish these mappings here. So what we can do now is we have start message, hack it, and we have get a cat. But I like dogs, but I prefer dogs. And then we have the Viking. And then we have celebrate. And then we have anime. Let's do it like this, looks cool. So theoretically, I now have already, how many are these? 6, 7 commands available here. So when I now, let's see, when I do shave, it should change the camera, which it does. And after 10 seconds, it will, oops. Okay. Well, seems to work, huh? Let's see what happens now. I think I need a queue here or something. Should I queue this somehow? So that the commands run after one another? So what happens now when I just render another commit? Let's say I'm going for the Viking. That works. And can you type another command when I have something enabled? So let's say that I do now, what was it? Shave. Can you trigger a command now? Okay. Well, it probably doesn't work with a delay here. But cool. So probably what we should have is I have to say that this is That was almost too easy. So what we did here is that I took the example from the Twitch documentation, and with this we implemented basically some commands to show and change the camera. So I think that the next thing that we should do is we should have something like help or something. So maybe we can go here and we can do if command name equals help. And what we want to do is maybe print out all the commands. So how will we do this? So first of all, we definitely want to do something like client say, and then we do, how do we get all the keys outside of out of a JavaScript map? Is there a way to get all the keys? All keys. Set keys. All right, that looks good. So let's have a look. So what we could do is const all commands is equal commands keys. And I think that's an iterable, so we have to put that into an array first. So let's log that out. Console log all commands. Here we go. So let's trigger the help command now. Help. Crash. Okay. All right, we have to get rid of this first. So let's try that again. Help. Let's have a look. All right, so let's do, here we go. But let's not do it, let's do not help, let's do what's up. And let's do all commands. Let's do this a template string here. Available commands equal something like this. And then let's join them together with a comma like this. All commands. Here we go. So when we now do help, it should say help is it answering? Yeah, Andy, to sum up, so what I do here is I have Snap Camera running in the background, and this thing works with global shortcuts. So what I have here in my streaming software is that I have Snap Camera as a webcam source. It uses so OBS Streamlabs uses this as the input video device. And then I'm using something that is called Robot.js to trigger the global screenshot, or no, the global shortcuts to change the camera. So basically what happens is when you now type shave, I'm triggering global shortcuts that are a number plus Control and Alt. And these are basically mapping to the global screenshots that I trigger with Robot.js, which will then change Snap Camera. And man, it only took me 40 minutes. I think it's pretty nice here. So let's have a look if the help command still, oh, it's not help anymore. It's what's up? Or maybe it should be help. Available commands, shave, hack it. Nice. Yeah, maybe it should be help. Let's go with help. Cool. So then there's still the question, what we should do when there are several commands coming in. Maybe we should pass, maybe you should keep track. What happens when I now run several commands in this after another? So I could do shave, and I could do anime. And now these are cleaning up afterwards, and I think it's puzzling the whole system. So shave will now trigger first. Yeah. So it should keep track. it should keep track of the last run command and the last. Yeah, it should keep track of which is the last running command actually. And I think that we can pass that here to, let's say, we pass in something like here, which is like current command. And we could have a variable on top, which we just define current command. And when we run this command, we will set current command equals command name. And then inside of our cleanup function, we now have current command. And if current command equals command, then we basically want to tap this, we want to click or trigger the same keystrokes to make the camera effect go back. Okay, so let's see if this works. So when I now do shave, and you're not seeing my chess messages because we have this little if in here, which is like if self do nothing. So when I now do if shave, I'm shaved, and it should still work. So after 10 seconds now, it should revert this. It should revert the camera trigger. And dun, 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 dun. I don't think it does. So let's start some logging here of current command, and command. So let's see what we have here. So I'm triggering, let's say anime again, which changes the camera. Okay. So now after 10 seconds in my console, what we should see. Okay, it's current command is with a bang. Yeah, that's easy to fix. Okay, so let's do it like this. So that should now be, whoops, that should now be the same. So let's bring this one in here and this one in here. So when we now do shave again, it's shaving, and then after 10 seconds, we should have, well, that looks good. So when we now do shave, anime, and hack it, it should, after the 10 seconds, it should be ready. Oh man, I never thought that I will enjoy the Snapchat stuff, but actually I'm having a lot of fun here. So let's do it one last time. So when someone types, all right, which is pretty cool. And everything is available under also when you press, for the people that are joining later, when you press or enter exclamation point help, it should show all the available commands here. Nice. So I would say this is already a pretty decent bot here. Super nice. So let's see if we can clean something up here. It looks good. So what should we do next? So the thing is that I would like to replace this chat that you replace the chat that you have. Let's do it like enough. Back to normal. All right, that seems to work. So what we now should do is, what I would like to do is, so currently the chat that you see on the right side, in the long run, what I would like to do is that I would like to change this whole thing, because this is all Streamlabs interface and dragging around things. But I would like to have my own chat display in the right side, or maybe overlaying or something. And that is the cool thing about all this streaming software, is that it is allowing to have a browser source, which then can interact, for example, with the sockets API that we have there. So what I'm going to do is, so we have now when we look at our package JSON, what we have here is we have one start command that runs one command. Yeah, the Viking is definitely the best. Wanna have another look here? You can type it again, Madalina. Come on. And so what I would like to do is I would like to get rid of this custom chat that we have there, and then I would like to have my own chat stuff going on and develop that from scratch. So what we would have to do for that is that we would need a website available, or like a local web server. And then let's see what we can do here. So the first thing that I bring in now is npm run all or something to run several node scripts in parallel. Because I want to start a web server, but I also want to, 1p is what I'm looking for. Is that a different command? No. Okay, so I want to start a web server, and I want to start this socket script that we have running. Did the Viking show? I was not looking. Let's have another look, because I was talking. Oh, but it seems still to work. Oh, I think that's super funny. Okay, so what I would like to do now is I would like to run a web server and the node server in parallel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install -save npm run all. I'm sure there are other things available, but this is now, let's call it chatbot. And what I want to do on start is run all. Was it run all? I'm not sure. So it was run p. And here we have, does that have a live reload? No, it doesn't look like it. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to do run p. Let's do it like this. Start chatbot, and we will have start server. Here we go. And then we can do npm run all start star. And when we now do echo foo or whatever here. Oh, that is unfortunate. So I have a file conflict here because I installed stuff in the same time and I edited. Yeah, I got that. Yeah, close it. Don't save. Okay, so let's open that again. Let's see what we got here. So we have here npm run all. So this should be start chatbot. And what I want to do is I want to have start server. And then I want to do npm start, which is basically run in parallel start star, I think works. And here we just do a logging for now. Foo. So when I now do npm start again, the bot should be back to normal. So let's see if the bot still works. So when we do here now shave, okay, so that still works. And did it log my echo message? Yeah, it did. So what we now have with npm start, we have two different processes running in parallel, and I could now start implementing my own website that could display the chat. So how would we do that? Should we use something like React, Preact, or should we go vanilla here? I wouldn't. Should we make that complete? Should we make that? But then let's go with React here, because it's the biggest one. What do you think? no, let's go vanilla first, and then we can port it to React later if we want to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install another dependency, which is just live server, so that I have a little bit of reload going on. And then we can do here live. Oh, I'm doing the same thing again. Save before it. Here we go. Okay. So with this now, we would have a live server running that we could just hack in some bare bones vanilla JavaScript. So let's see how this works. Cool. So when we now do npm start, we have a live server which does this. Okay, let's get rid of this one again, and I'm gonna open that in Chrome, and it's basically showing that nothing is there yet. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a index.html file for now. Format document language. Here we go. And we're going to do HTML language mode. And now we can do HTML5, something like this. And now what I'm going to do, how do we do this? Let's bring in a style block. Style. And I'm going to say body, HTML body. And here we say width 1920 pixels and height 1080 pixels. And we're gonna have a hello world here. So let's see. So when I go to Chrome, this looks good. And what I now can theoretically do is that I can bring in my streaming software back like this. And what I can now do is I can go here and I can define a new source. So let's see if that works. And I want to have a browser source. Let's add that one. Let's call it streaming backend front end. Yeah, streaming front end. Sounds reasonable to me for streaming front end. I'm gonna add that one, and I'm gonna go to Chrome and I copy this body here. Here we go. And we say that the width is 1920 and the height is 1080, which should be pretty much the whole screen here. And do we see something here already? Let's see what happens. Do we see? Nice. So you see that there? So this is already the nice, that is so cool. So this is already the website that we're actually serving from Chrome. So when we now would go into the editor and we say, I wonder if live refresh works here now. So let's do it like this. So we bump the headline, and now, and let's just go inline styling for now. We say font size 5M and color red. Well, that is pretty decent, I have to say. So we have now here a browser source that is exactly, so I can move that off screen again too. So we have now a browser source that is running into my live stream automatically. So what we did so far is then that we have a custom chatbot running that reacts to sockets collection. So when I now go in here and I do anime, it should still change my camera, which it does. And we have a website running, which you see here right in front of us, that we can now use to implement a custom streaming setup. So if you wonder which commands are available right now, you can always type #bang help, and it will show you the commands that are available. And what I'm now going to do is that this website that is now overlaying the whole streaming setup, I will start working on that and finishing that up to build my own little chat thing here. Streamlabs bot, yeah, I did a sum up here already. So what we're gonna do is, and I'm going very bare bones with a lot of inline stuff. The first thing that we want to do probably is I'm gonna say display. I have no idea what browser this is, so let's see what happens. So what I want to do is I want to have display grid and then grid template columns, and I'm gonna do 1FR, FR, which stands for fraction, and then we do, I don't know, let's have a look. 300 pixels, and I will just have an empty element here, and let's see what happens here. Well, that is not too bad. Nice. So let's give everything inside of the body a border so that I can build up the proper grid for my streaming setup here. So we do border 1 pixel solid blue maybe. Let's see. Okay. So this is this 300 pixel is not right 100% cutting it. So let's do this now like this. That is not too bad. Okay. So let's do 375, maybe 70. Cool. And then I want to have grid template rows to kind of move my hello world, which will be the chat that I'm re-implementing with web technology here now. So what we're gonna do is git template rows should be probably something like the same, 370 pixels, 70 pixels and 1FR. Oh God, what is going on? Okay, so now let's call it class chat. Okay, so we're gonna stick with the headline, but we're gonna move it into the chat thing, and then I'm gonna properly position the chat element. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go chat, and how is it, grid template area, I think. Let's have a look. So we're gonna go grid template area. Let's see. Let's have a look. Oh, that's not what I want to do. I want to say, what was the command to place an element inside of the grid? CSS is display grid. So let's have a look. Here we go. That is the resource when you're doing grid. Okay, let's have a look. What we're looking for is this. This is what we're looking for. But this also has like an inline syntax somehow. This is what I'm looking for, grid area. Yeah, that makes sense. So the chat should have, yeah, we don't need the name. And when you do this, you have to look at the numbers. So what I'm looking for, the numbers of the grid. So when we open this here right now, and I open the DevTools, we can enable, or we can start digging into the grid inspector here. So we see here that there is no grid inspector, probably because there are no elements in it. let's just place some more elements into it. So let's do div, and now we can do something like this, and I hope that we see a grid inspector then. We do not. Was it in Firefox? I'm using Firefox like a lot. How do we see? We see that it's display grid. And we see our grid lined up here. But basically, yeah, we could now position it onto the grid. So what I would like the chat box to be, so you have to always think in these lines, in these divider lines. So 1, 2, and 3 on this axis, and then we have 1, 2, 3, and actually 4 on this axis. So for the chat, what I would like to be, the row start should be 2, 2, and 3, and 3. So let's see what happens here. That looks good. Nice. And with this, we should be able to remove all the divs. Yeah, looks good. Nice. Maybe we have to make the height a little bit more because I have still this counter there. So let's do it like this. Sweet. So with this, we could now implement the custom chat backend. So how would we do this? So let's have a look to, I had that open somewhere. Is it like this? I've seen a client-side example for Nvmrc. Yeah, it's like this. Is that available in my node modules? So let's have a look. When I go into node modules, we have a bunch of stuff, of course. And we have a look at tmi.js. And it does not have a minified file. Well, that is unfortunate. Browser. Let's have a look. So how do I implement the Twitch chat in the client here? Should I now bring in a build system? I'm not sure if I'm actually up for that, to be honest. Pre-built browser releases, that looks good. Should I download this or what is that? Yeah, no, I'm not really into this. Is it time for build process already to build a proper front-end app? To just deal with this dependency in the client? They could include that in the node modules, and it's a little bit unfortunate. All right, let's do build process then. I think it's time. Should we try? What should we try? Want to do Parcel maybe, because it's just the easiest thing without much configuration. So what we could do, let's have a look at Parcel. Getting started. What we want to do is, no, we don't want to do it globally. All right, let's install Parcel. So what I'm gonna do is, we're gonna do npm install -- save Parcel. What was it? Bundler? Yeah, Parcel bundler. Here we go, Parcel bundler. And then we're gonna go to our package JSON after this installed, because otherwise I run into file conflicts again. And then we're gonna do just Parcel index. And if that all works fine, then potentially we could kick it off with an index HTML file. And I tried Parcel in the past and it was actually a pretty decent experience. So let's see how this is going to work. My new chatbot is currently broken because it's not running. So in case you want to see what we did already, it takes a little bit of time here. Install the packages. I still haven't figured. Here we go. Yeah, here we go. Come on. Love Parcel. Yeah, we'll find out about that. Cool. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to go into the package JSON, and for the start server, I will really just say Parcel index HTML, and here now open and the port number should be 8080. So we do P808080. So when we're now doing npm start again, the chatbot should be back. And we should have Okay, Parcel is doing something for 8080. And it still seems to work. So is my chatbot still working? Let's have a look. Get a cat. Yeah. Well, I'm still into the camera stuff here. So that works. So when we now go into our index.html file, we could bring in, let's have a look at what files we have here right now. So let's close everything up. And we do index.html, and I'm now gonna bring in, let's rename the bot first. So I'm renaming the bot file to bot.js, which means that in my package.json, I have to rename that one too. So I'm now gonna start that one again, and then we have the index file, and I will create a new folder because now we're creating a normal front-end app, and we're gonna start here with new file, and we call it app.js, which then means in my index, what we should be able to do is we should be able to do that something like script source and then source app.js, and theoretically Parcel figures out the rest. So when we now have console log hello from Parcel, we should be able to go here and refresh that one. Hello from Parcel. Nice. Does Parcel have live refresh or something? Or is it watch? Used to be you don't have your own apps then. All right, so this is what we want to do. So we want to do back to package.json. We want to have a refresh. So we want to do this. Now we can restart that one here. And with unknown p option. If you don't have a server, use development server when you don't have your own server as client rendered. If you don't have your own run postport. Without the watch? Was it reacting to file changes? Let's do npm start. And when we now, let's have a look. When we go into our app.js and we do ta-da, is that updating automatically? No, I have to refresh now manually. I don't like that. Now open, if Modful isn't working for you, you may need to configure your, well, it should work. So let's see, let's add another thing here. Oh, it seems to work. Okay, it seems to work. So what we can now do is, theoretically in this file, what we can do is we grab the client-side example, which we have here. Let's grab that one. What's your problem here? That's a lot of red. That's a lot of red. What's your problem? Only avoid from a new code. We have the same code in our bot. What's going on? Yeah, I think we should have something like this. Options debug true, connection, reconnect secure, identity, yada yada yada. So let's just copy some stuff here. So let's copy two things. So let's get all these kind of things, and then we do Twitch options, and here we go, we pass these there. Let's see if that works. Well, only one squiggly line now, which is good. And when we now I don't want to return from the client here because I have a Node script running that is my bot already. So what I would like to do here is, let's just, maybe let's do it like this. Hey, from the front end. All right. So when we now go here and we have a look at I'm not 100% sure if this is actually refreshing properly, to be honest. So it's installing a bunch of stuff now. Well, if Parcel now figures out all that stuff, let's see. Cool. So when we now do a refresh here, no response from Twitch, which is basically the same error that we had before. But how is Parcel handling environment variable? Here we go, that looks good. Parcel uses .env to support local environment variables. Parcel loads env files with specific names. Files with these specific names for node env values. But I don't want to have env files are to be stored. Yeah. Parcel loads env files. So I'm trying to figure out how to load env files in Parcel. Accessing process env is not supported. But accessing specific variables on it, like process env. Okay, that is a little bit weird, but let's see if that works. So when I now go here and I do console log process env Twitchbot name, is that logging it out? Well, okay, that is weird that I cannot get the stuff out of this object. Okay, but it seems like that when we do this and this and this, it should do the trick. Then we can get rid of this one. Let's have a look. I've got an error here. But that is for an image or something. Okay, so what happens now when I type something in the chat is that theoretically this should now be a chatbot that already runs from my front end here. So let's say hello front end. All right, looks like nothing is happening here. Fair enough. So what should we do here? So new client. Let me just check if everything is available here. So I've seen the bot name already, and I'm just gonna grab the token and I'm gonna do slice 0 something something, which should now show up here. Yeah, so that looks good. And when we go for the Twitch channel, this should be my username. Looks good too. So when we do 8 here, yeah, so that looks good. Is this... Are there other issues? Let's have a look what's going on. Yeah, no, I don't care about these. Connect, on message. Oh, I think yeah, let's log it out here. So let's have a look. Yeah, let's do message here. So the code is not all right. Hello, everybody. So when we now, hey, Lumjacker. So when I now type something in here, sweet. So with this, theoretically, I could now run my Twitch bot in my Twitch bot that I already did from the front end, but I think it's actually quite nice that it's in a Node.js script because it's kind of a backend thing or something. So, but what I would like to do is I would like to display the chat messages that are coming in from Twitch itself. So let's see, how will we do this? So my messages shouldn't show up here. I think that's great. And the command handling is, we don't have to do that. Should we show that? Let's just do if the message starts with an explanation point for commands, then we're going to return 2, and I'm going to clean that up in a moment. And otherwise, we only want to log the message first. So console log message here, CLG message. Cool. Hey Niels, how's life? So what we have now is that theoretically, when someone writes a message into the chat, then it should show up in my front end here. Does anyone want to send a message here? Cool. So that looks good. And for the people that were just joining, when you do explanation point help, I already implemented a custom chatbot that changes the camera. So what I'm now working on is building the chat front end that is currently a Streamlabs default widget, and I want to have it in my own front end. And what I'm gonna do is I set up Parcel so far, and I'm now gonna decide on how to build this thing. So what you see here on stream is basically a website that is 1920 in width and 1080 in height, and it's on top of the whole streaming setup that I have. So for example, when I now go in here and I have an index file and I change this thing here to hello everybody, it should automatically change in the stream. Doesn't it do it? It did that before. Can I refresh this thing a little bit? So let me just go on my streaming thing and let's do refresh cache. Here we go. So let's see if it now still updates, because it was updating before. So when I do hello everybody with explanation points, yeah, nice. So it works again. So when we do this, it is overlaying my streaming setup, and I'm now gonna implement with, yeah, I assume I'm going with React, and then we're gonna do some stuff. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy this hard-coded CSS, and I will just create a main CSS file here, and let's see if this still works. So we do this. And then theoretically what I can do, because we're doing Parcel, and Parcel figures everything out by itself. So it should be able to import styles from, what do we have? Main CSS. Let's see if that still works. All right. Did I remove it from the index file? No, I did not. Okay, so let's get rid of this one. Let's give this a proper title here. Streaming front end. And is that still refreshing? Yeah, nice. Okay. So theoretically, we should have still the styling, which comes from main CSS. Yeah, nice. That's cool. So how do we start with, should we just install React and then see how it goes? Or should we do Preact instead? So what you see here is that I have this area lined up. This is really the same area that is covered in chat, but I really want to build my own chat here with the sockets that I have already running. So messages are theoretically already showing up. So Should we just, should I do create React app or create Preact? Let's go with Preact, let's see. To keep, how do we get started with Preact? Get started. Do we want to? Do we, without a build chain? That would be super nice, actually. With a build chain. Is Preact these days running without build tools? I dig this. I think this is super nice. Let's give it a try. So this assumes that we just, let's see if, what happens if we do type module here, and then inside of our app.js, we have this Twitch stuff going, but what we want to do is, so imports have to be on top. And when we now, if that just works, that would be super nice without a proper build setup and stuff. So let's see. So what is the component? Hello props name. Okay. Ba-da-da-dum. Yeah, well now, that is interesting because now my browser source is basically this thing here and it's overlaying the whole thing. So let me just change my streaming setup a little bit, and so that we can still see some stuff like this. Okay. So what is the problem here? It is complaining about I think it doesn't like this, and it doesn't properly support the script type mod. Yeah, it's, I think we're just puzzling Parcel here. But we could actually drop Parcel completely. If we go with live server and we're really only running in JavaScript module land, we should be able to just import things Parcel in. Yeah, I could go Next.js, but I would like to keep it very slim here, to be honest. Or should we go Next? We could go Next, of course. Yeah, I mean, why not? Let's do Next then. All right. Next.js getting started. How do we do this? Dun, dun, dun. npx create next step. Well, that sounds reasonable. So, nice. I love that the message is already popping up everywhere. It's like overload, which is super cool. Okay, so what happens now when I do, I'm inside of my directory that has currently, maybe I should rename some stuff. Maybe I should bring in a bot thing, bot deer, and let's move in the commands in there, and let's move in the bot in there, and now we rename this file first to index.js because it's in a bot directory. Save. And now we have to do adjust the package JSON to do start chatbot is now bot/index.js. So let's just do an npm start to see if the bot still works after I refactored that. And I have to refresh. Oh yeah, I have to get rid of all the stuff that I brought in here because it's breaking what I did so far. All right, let's get rid of this one. So I'm gonna refresh the current page, which should now work again. Okay, so that is cool. And when I type the commands, is my chatbot still working? That looks good. And when I now do shave, it's still shaving. Okay, cool. So how do we bring now in Next.js? I think we can do next. When I now, can I split the terminal in VS Code? No. Can I, let's open up a new terminal because I want to keep the bot running. Let's create a new terminal here. Here we go. Yeah, I don't want to debug right now. So are we in the right directory? Yes. So let's just have a look. What happens if we just run create next step? Let's see. Project name, streaming front end. But overall, I'm already quite happy here that my chatbot worked without a problem, which is super nice. So it's using Yarn. All right. Yeah, I think it will create a new folder. I will, let's see how we do this then. How I start the whole thing, because I have to start the node script and then the next server. Maybe I should just move it a level up then, or down. Let's see what the output is and how messy it is actually. All right. So it wants Yarn, first of all. So it wants Yarn def. So what happens now when I go to my package JSON, and can I do CD in an npm script? Can I do something like this? So CD streaming front end and then Yarn def. Does that work? So let's find out. So with this we can, I'm gonna go to the other terminal again. I'm gonna kill the bot and I'm do npm start. Whoop. This is still doing some parcel stuff. Didn't I save? It seemed that it's working. So when we now go to localhost 3000, localhost 3000. Nice. Well, that looks cool. Yeah, let's. Oh, it does. npm run def. So let's fix that just to not have something like this. So we're going to restart this. And when we now go here, okay, now I have to change my streaming front end. So let's have a look. It's currently running on 8080. So when I now change my streaming stuff to have a different browser here, you should see that, here we go, that I have the website that we're currently building on top of everything else. Yep. So, yeah, well, that is actually not too bad, huh? So when we now go into the, well, I think it is a little bit messy here, but okay. So then we can drop the source and it has its own stuff here. What is it saying? Welcome to Next.js. So let's have a look. Welcome, where this is coming from. So theoretically, when I now change welcome to hello, it should refresh, which it doesn't do on the stream. It does here. Oh, it does here too. Yep, already found it here, and cool. All right, then let's do next. Yeah, I'm fine with this. But before I move on and bring in the chat, I will take a 2-minute bathroom break. We'll be right back. Here we go. All right, but I feel like it's a little bit messy here right now. So I assume that we should, how many dependencies are in here? I feel like we should just merge the two package JSONs here right now and clean this up a little bit, because I don't necessarily like that I have here nested node module dependencies and stuff. I don't think that's cool. So let's have a look. So first we have to install some dependencies in our root folder. And do you hear sound again good? I just hit the be right back button. So what we would like to do is we bring in these dependencies in our main dependency thing here, where we already have some stuff. Now we can drop the parcel bundler and we can drop the live server, and then start server will be, let's have a look. When we look at the Next.js stuff, what is def? It's next def. Okay, so let's bring that one in here. Next def. And then I'm just gonna move up all the directories and files here. So let's see. So we merged the package JSON. I don't care about the yarn log. I don't care about git ignore. I'm gonna move pages up. I'm gonna move public up. Pages. Node modules, we have to install that again. And theoretically, when I now I have a command available that is npm reset, which basically cleans up everything and installs everything again. Oh no! I hope it's going to resolve your problem there. So we're running another install of basically everything. And when we're ready, then we could. Oh, we have something up here, so we can remove this one because I renamed bot to index. And when this now, come on, have you turned it on and off again? Right, that's the typical thing. I should have when it's running again, I should have a proper camera for that now that I have a Twitch bot available. Okay, so I'm reinstalling all the dependencies after I merged what I did so far with Next. And what we're going to do now is to re-implement the chat that I have currently as a default setup from Streamlabs OBS in the right corner here. And we're going to re-implement that automatically from scratch. So the installation should now be done in a moment. And then we can do npm start, which automatically should start the next server and should start my node script, which is the, here we go. So when we now do npm start, it starts the bot, and it looks like, well, what am I looking at here? Is it running on localhost 3000? That looks... That looks broken. Oh no. Okay. Compiled successfully. Okay, which now means when we go to index.js in pages, when I now do hello world again, it should update here, and it should update in the browser thing that we have on stream here too. Nice. So I'm just gonna move that here around so that we can work a little bit. And then how do we approach that? So I haven't detailed next development yet. So let's have a look. So we have something like styles, and we have globals. Well, this feels like that. Oh, did I remove the CSS that we had? Oh, I had the grid already that I wanted to use. Oh, Stefan, that is unfortunate. Okay, so what I want to do here is I want to have body and HTML have a width of 1920 pixels and a height of 1080 pixels. And with this, I would give the body display grid, and then grid template columns 1fr, and we had something around 360 pixels, and we have grid template rows, which was 400 something and 1fr. And then I had a component which we called chat, which had the grid area 2233, I think. So when we now go into index pages, I'm really not into all that stuff here. I think we can just remove everything here. So let's make that a little bit smaller. And let's get rid of everything basically. Yeah, I also don't need head. So what I want to have here, so this is class name. We're going to clean that up a little bit later. So we're going to say chat, and then we have a h1 hello world. So let's see what happens now. Sweet. So this is now overlaying the whole thing. So let's see what we have here. We have, okay. So it's injecting a next thing. So we're gonna go to the styles again, and this is next. Is it class? Oh, it's an ID. Okay. That looks good, and it should now be somewhere else already. So is it visible in the streaming overlay? Yeah, it is. So what I now can do is I can move this chat over everything else so that it works again. Here we go. There we have the hello world now, which is overlaying my streaming setup. And position absolute. I think that I will keep the grid actually, and then there's no need for positioning absolute, because the grid, when we look at the grid, so let's just add some more items here. So when we do, let's just add some random divs here. And then do, oh no, yeah, I think it's quite nice that this grid automatically works in the things that, in the format that I'm looking for, right? So, and I have to change some more things here. So it should like be probably just have to do this so that they all have the same height and width as my streaming video. So, and I just like to have a grid here. I think that's quite nice because this is kind of the layout that I'm looking for. Inside of this chat component, then I would use positioning absolute to show the chat messages and stuff. But I think having this base layout for components that will be used in my streaming setup makes sense with this grid. And this is just very beautiful, right? It's spinning up a grid these days like this is just super, super nice. Okay, so how do we move forward? So we had, did I remove the code now too? Yeah, I did. So let's have a look how we would structure this. So this is the functional component. We're not using head anymore. We will use the styles a little bit later. And we had this client code available, which we had here. Was it this one? Yeah, it was this one. So let's see how we can fiddle this one in. So I assume that I can move this one to import TMI from TMI.js, and then we have to use some hook stuff, right? Okay, so how do we do this? Let me just bump that up a little bit more again. So what we have to do now is, yeah, let's bring a new state and let's see what happens. So import. Is there some special handling in Next with hooks and stuff? Import use state from React, okay. And we're gonna grab this thing here and we're gonna just do it here. So that probably should be at some point a proper chat component, but for now we're gonna stick here. So we're doing the const Twitch chat options equals this. Then we pass that one in. And then what do we do? So we need use state and use effect. Use effect. The first thing that we have to do is when this component is ran for the first time, use effect, we want to add the event listeners like this. So we pass that in. I pass a dependency array, which is empty to not run this over and over and over again. So we have the client available, we have the message available. So let's just have a look if this still works. So when we save this one now, let's go to the bot because we need to get our environment variables too. So we have this one. How do I get environment variables in Next? Is it like import? Let's have a look. Next.js environment variables. Do I do require? Oh no, I just do this. Oh, nice. So process is available, looks like it. Okay, so that we could basically do something like this. And then Twitch bot name here, Twitch channel, here we go, and Twitch token, here we go. Client is complaining, let's save that one. Are there errors? Compiled successfully. Unhandled runtime error. So how do we debug that? Process is not defined. Didn't I just see this? Next.js environment variables, basic features. Loading environment variables, that works. Should we do the same thing here again? We'll expand variables. Okay, let's have a look if we have to do this. Really env local? Let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna kick this off. I'm gonna start the server here, and I'm gonna move env to env local because I don't want to show it on stream because it includes my token. So let's have a look. Localhost server is available. Let's do a refresh here. I think it's still the same problem. Let's have a look at the documentation again. Use env local. Okay, we did that, didn't we? So we have env local available. There are environment variables in this. Let's have a look if Parcel had the same weird thing, right? Where the object process env was not an object, but you had to access it like this because something like this didn't work. So let's have a look at that works. So when we go to localhost again, nice, sweet. So we're back on track here. What do we do next? So when we have nope, yeah, it seems to work with just accessing it like that. So I don't know what I do there under the hood, but I feel like that there are some getters and setters moving. But it seems like that no response from Twitch. Let's have a look if these are available. Let's have a look here. So what happens if we do... Oh, I did the same thing just a few minutes ago here. So let's have a look if this is available. Twitchbot name. Should not refresh. What did I do? It is still undefined. Is there a naming convention? Are you right after all? Are only available in the Node.js environment, meaning that it won't be exposed to the browser. In order to expose, yeah, it's next public. You're completely right here. So we do next public analytic. Okay, so I'm gonna move my editor from screen for a second, and I'm gonna have a look at env local. And I'm gonna copy everything that I have in there, and I'm gonna prefix it with next public. I'm gonna save this. All right. Back on track. Twitchbot name. So let's see. We go back here. 500 is always great. Okay. Process env next public Twitchbot name. Oh, I have to restart it probably, huh? I have to restart it because it reads environment variables only at the start. Yeah, that's probably it. So when we go back here, I like that the error is so nicely formatted. That's pretty cool. So let's have a look. Refresh here. Building pages. Okay, it's logging this one. Yeah, I think we can just say that this works. So I'm assuming that I now can do, let's change these all to next public. Do a refresh here. connected to server, joined. Can we send a message? Does that not work? Did we have a message logger in there? So I think it's working here right now. So we can do this. And when I now do, there's a console log message. So when we now do hello world, close test. Yeah, nice. Yeah, looks good, huh? Nice. So with this, we could now start building up the chat stuff. So how should we do this? Should we break it down into a chat component already? Let's just figure out if I'm very nervous that I'm breaking my new chatbot on the way. So let's see what happens here. All right, that's still working. Nice. Okay, so I think it's time for a chat component already. Okay, so let's see. We have pages. Is there a Next.js convention where I place components, or is it just, or do we just bring in a components thing? Okay. So are you saying that we should now just doing components chat.js? Is that what you're saying? Then let's go with this one. So we have a functional component here. We call it chat. And we move a lot of things over to the chat component now. So let's have a look here. So what I would like to do is I would like to have use effect and use state from here. I would like to have this library here too. And then we grab this stuff and place this inside of the chat component too. And now what we do here is we do import chat from components chat.js, and then we're gonna drop all this stuff here, and all we do here is we call or we render chat. Let's see if that still works. Is this our new component already? So let's see, hello world from chat. Sweet. All right, now we have a component running. Not into pages. So where should I place it? Should I have now pages and components. Should I move it one level up? I think that's what you're saying, huh? So then let's move it one level up, and let's do. Oh, I love that VS Code is automatically updating the path. So we have now a pages directory and we have a components directory. And components includes the chat component now, which should still hopefully work. So when we do another refresh here, we do sup, and it's still updating. Nice. That makes sense. So when I have a directory in pages or a file which is pages components, it will be a pretty URL and stuff. Yeah, that does make a lot of sense. So let's have a look what we have here. We have some stuff going. Is that old or new? Let's have a look. Let's make that a little bit bigger here. Cool. So it seems like the socket connection is still working. So what we have to do is now we have the bot running, and now it would be time to render chat messages in this chat.js component. So how will we do this? This one, and let's go to chat. So what we have here is we have use state, we have use effect. On use effect, we already connect the client to the Twitch socket API. And when you do hello right now, it should actually be another chatbot just running from the front end. So when I now type in hello in my chat here, it is answering quite a few times. Because I assume we're yeah, let's see how this goes. Okay. So how do we do this now? I assume that what we should do is when there's a new message, if it's from the chatbot itself, it should be returning. Then there's another case, if message starts with the exclamation point, I don't want to have that either. Return. So then there's the question, what do we do now? Do we store an array using useState? Should be. Okay, let's just figure out how to do this. So what we could do is we could now do something like messages and set messages, use state and an array. And if there is a new message, the function onMessage should be extracted to a function using useCallback. So that there are not multiple functions created. But I'm running I'm running a use effect with an empty array, which means that this whole thing here should only run once when the component mounts, isn't it? So let's see how often this runs. So attaching event listeners. All right, so let's have a look. When I do a hard refresh here, it says attaching event listeners once. And I will keep an eye on the fact how often it will run this, but I would assume that with use effect with an empty dependency array that it should not run several times when we call set state. So what we can do now here is we can do set, let's do messages, and we do set messages, which is spread it in messages and message. Something like this. So then we could already do something like UL and then messages map message and then return an li with message. Here we go. So let's have a look what happens now. Oh, I should keep the headline so that I see that we're serious. That still stuff is there. So hello world. All right. So let's have a look here. So when now message comes in, let's see. When a message comes in now, hello. Is it rendering in my stream thing here? Doesn't look like it, but I see it here. Oh, it's overriding things, isn't it? So let's have another look. Hello. Okay, so the collection right now is not the right thing. So something is not working here properly. So we're saying set messages is a new array. What? But I'm not sure if that should be, is it telling me that? I'm not sure if it should be a dependency, because if it is a dependency, we're running this all the time. I'm not sure if we should have it as a dependency. Because this callback here should run. All right, let's bring it a little bit off. Let's bring in some logging in here. Received message, and here we have the messages. Let's do it like this. Here we go. So we have, now we have 2 messages. Let's see what happens now. Hello world. I'm spreading the messages object in set messages. Let's have a look. Let's have a look what happens here. So, and let's log this one out. And let's get rid of this one for a second. So we're gonna go here, we're gonna refresh, and now we're gonna trigger a message. Yeah, let's fix this error there, because otherwise logging becomes a little bit key index. Here we go. Let's do another refresh. Okay. So another message. Hello. All right. So this is now 1. So if we now do another one, hello 2. Is this not working? I don't get it. Messages. What happens if we do messages concat message? Is that better? Hello world. So you basically said earlier that we should do this, right? But then we are running way more things here. So when we do this now, we have attaching event listeners, and now on every chat message, we would rerun event listeners, wouldn't we? Yeah. And now we have a third one. Oh wait, it's 2. Okay, let's split this up for a second. So what we want to do is, no, what actually no. How do you use callback? All right, when do we use callback? Use callback. Pass an inline callback and an array of dependencies. Use callback will return a memorized version. I don't think that this is the right approach, to be honest. Let me figure that out. I think that this is correct because we only want to run one thing. Let's log that out a little bit. Because we're basically doing a very trivial thing here. We want to attach one event listener, and when something happens, we want to use useState. That's all we want to do. Give me 5 more minutes to figure that out, and then we can do use memo. How does it sound? So let's have a look. I'm totally digging that the chat is inside of this thing in the whole time. All right, let's have a look. So when I send a message, messages is an empty array and it stays an empty array. Yeah, that makes sense. Am I using that wrong? So when I have messages equals an array, I can do messages equal messages and then foo. And now messages is foo, and now it's foo twice. Is that returning something? Const messages. Block scope vary messages used before its declaration. Ah. Here we go. Okay, that doesn't work. So let's say new messages. All right, let's have a look. So we have a hello here. Hello 2. Hello 3. Hello 4. I absolutely don't get what I'm looking at there. Why is it? I'm just concatenating an array, and why is it replacing one? Because it is undefined. I think I'm slowly getting where you're saying I have a thinking error here. So, but when we now do use messages here, then it is working. So let's do a hard refresh here. So we do hello 1, hello 2, hello 3. Yeah, you're right. Okay, I take it like this. So messages clearly has to be a dependency of this hook. So and how do I use callback or use memo now? Okay, use memo. Returns a memo as value, pass a create function and an array. Use memo will only recompute when one of the dependencies has changed, but it will change. And use callback. Oh, nice. I take that one. Okay, let's have a look what you got here. Let's see. So let's just I'm copy and paste that and let's dig that deeper here. All right, so let's have a look. So you're saying Thanks a lot, by the way. Oh, what was the bot command for celebration? What was it? It was celebrate. All right, let's celebrate. Thank you very much. Okay, so yeah, back to normal. All right, so let's do that one again. Okay, so what should we do? We should do completely lost track here. So let's go back to the chat component and let's paste the stuff that you just gave me. Okay, so we have messages, set messages. We have client use memo, handle new message, use callback. And inside of this thing, what we want to do is client connect. Client on message, handle message. Is that passing all this stuff inside of the use callback stuff? So let's see. So we do this, and then we could have all this stuff in here, and we need use callback and use memo. And then we can clean up the stuff that I had. Messages, use state array, messages. All right, let's see what's going on. Let's do a refresh here. Oh, we have a loop here. Oh, a very, very bad loop. Oh. So my computer started flying, and the reason is this buddy here. Okay. Cancel that. Okay. How can task manager? Let's kill that one. How do I kill that quickly? Task manager. All right, and we want to kill. What is that? Localhost. Localhost. How can I kill this now? Come on. Is it this one? Let's see. No. Worker. I don't see, here it is, tab localhost. Kill it, come on. Okay. Whew. All right, let's do a refresh. Cannot access client before initialization. Let's call it chat client. Chat client. Let's see. Chat client on is not a. Okay, let's see. Do I have that still? Client connect needs to be flashed out. I'm not sure I follow what you mean by flashed out. This, first of all, is a promise, right? And I should move this stuff somewhere else. So let's do it like this. Okay. So it's complaining about, let's have a look again. Chat client on is not a function. Where do we have chat client on? Here and here. This is way too complicated. Oh my god. Okay, I'm a little bit lost here, to be honest. So let's have a look. Message count. Use effect. Yeah. So let's have a look. Use effect, socket on, receive, empty dependency. Yeah, this is what I guessed, right? This is exactly what we started with. And then where's the set state? Handle messages, set message count. Set message count, message count. So you say, let's just kill the use memo. Let's see what happens here. Is that what you're saying? So we're gonna have a look. Refresh here. Chat client on. Oh, I think that this is not a problem. I think, okay, let's go step by step. So we do this, and then we do this. So let's have a look. Yeah, but when we move the client connect, yeah, you're right. So we should do client connect and then on message. Does that work better? So let's see. Nothing? Okay. No exception. That's something. Okay, so let's see what happens. We have one message. And we have another one. Second. Still same problem. The client comes from the outside. So the client comes from here with some config stuff, and then handle message. What do we see? We see an empty array messages, which is this one. And use callback doesn't look right here though, because we're passing. Oh. I think this is way too hard, to be honest. It shouldn't be that hard to implement just some basic stuff with hooks. Let me just have a quick another look. So what this first tutorial says is use effect, create to the thing, and define the message count. Only rerun if the fact. That is also not very true, this comment here. And then we have Okay, we have use effect. Okay, I'm reverting stuff here. Now it's time. Oh no, I'm completely messing things up here. Oh my goodness. All right, let's give it a second try. Set message. So this is where we came from, right? So when we go back here, we have a look. We have an empty array. And when we now send a message, hello 1. We have messages, count 0, new messages, count 1. So that looks good. This is the first run. And then we call yeah, this is true. So but it has to, can we not access stuff now just because it's not defined in dependencies? Is there some weird hook stuff going that we cannot reach outside of this scope anymore just because we didn't define it as a dependency? Hello 1. All right, that looks good. Hello 2. Yeah, messages, yeah. I cannot believe it, but you seem to be right here. That is very frustrating. So when we call messages here, we're now calling it way more often. Hello. Okay. Hello. But even that is weird now. Yeah, but it seems to work. Okay, back to square one. Use callback. Pass an inline callback and an array of dependencies. Use callback will return a memoized version of the callback that only changes if one of the dependencies has changed. This is useful when use callback fn is equivalent to use memo fn deps. So basically you are saying something like this. Const init client, and then we do use callback, and here we have something like this, and we have an empty dependency array to only do it once, and then we do client connect and client on. Yeah, basically the whole thing then. So we move this one in, and then we do init client. And we have to bring in use callback. Whoops. All right, no error. Hello 1. Hello 2. Only the callback function inside the on message needs to move to use callback. So you're basically saying, oh, I'm completely lost with these hooks here right now. Oh my God, I'm sorry. Okay, back to square one. Let's see what you're saying here. So you're saying that this stuff goes into use effect, if I get that right. But the problem with this is when I have messages as a dependency here, we're just attaching all this stuff all the time. Attach, attach, attach. So when we do messages, okay, so you're saying we should do const handle, but this is, okay, yeah, let's figure this out, but then we're still running into way too many, whoops. That looks actually pretty decent. Okay, so let's find out. So handle message, this will then, I suppose, be called with this. And then we do this stuff. And then we define handle new message here. And then we do something like this. Man, if that now works, that would be awesome. All right, number 1. Okay. Yeah, same stuff. I removed messages from use effect already. Received message, hello. What are we logging here? All right, let's find that one. Okay, refresh. Hello 1. Messages is empty, new messages is done. Okay. The loop is in 28. But I don't have a loop. The thing that I'm when I log new messages, it's not growing. So the array concatenation is not working for some reason. See, new messages is always 1 and messages is always empty. When you look at the messages is always empty, which means that then new messages stays empty. Yeah, I'm completely lost here how to do this. This is way too hard. All right, let's just change the logging again. So we say received messages and messages. Okay, I think it is time for the debugger. What do you think? But now, so let's have a look. Hello 1. When we have a look, I want to see the scope. Here we go. So in the closure, we have messages as an empty array at this stage. We're gonna jump over this one, and we have new messages, which is hello, and then we call set messages, which comes from set state messages. Are we using use state the wrong way? Use state React. Isn't it an array with 2 things? Count, set count. Messages, set messages. Okay. So we're calling set messages to new messages, which has the first one available. Nice. And it only runs once. So that is cool. So hello 2. We have a look at the scope again. Messages is still empty here. And I think it's the same problem that we run. So now we step over this. We see that new messages is an array with 1 entry, which is hello 2. And we do this. And we trigger a third one. And we see that messages is empty. And I think that's the problem the whole time. Well, at least I'm not alone. I mean, we're calling this one here. Let's try to debug that with it's the problem that it is an array. So let's have a look. Let's go with set counter. We define a counter, and when a message comes in, we do set messages counter plus plus. No, set counter, and should be like this, I assume. Counter. And we have to have that as a dependency, I guess. What's your problem here? Counter plus 1. Here we go. So another refresh here. So let's see if the counter. Come on. Is it there? No. let's restart this. Looks like something is hanging. All right. We have this thing, and now when we trigger a message, we end up in the debugger. Yeah. And then the closure, we have the counter, and we have messages being empty. And we set a new counter. And now like this. Now we're running it twice. And in the closure, the counter, okay, I assume that's for 2 change dependencies. Okay. And now we, you, you did that. Okay. So, all right, let's do this again. And when we now look into the, okay, something is seriously wrong here. Yeah, something is definitely off here. Because the client is outside of the component. I mean, we could just do this. And we could move it here. Let's see if that makes a difference. Come on. Okay, something, my computer starts working here. Let's get rid of this one. Okay, hello world. Now we joined. Hello one. Okay, and the second hello. No. Counter stays 0. And messages stays empty. Okay, I have no clue. I think that's the end of the journey here today. I have really no idea what's going on here. Okay, let's try. So what happens now if we have counter here? Is that solving the problem? So let's do a refresh. And let's do like that. So here we are. I'm opening DevTools. Yeah. Sending another message. And I'm going have to play this one first because it doesn't matter. And now counter is still 0. No way. Where's the counter? Where's the typo? Messages, set messages, set messages. Messages. Looks good to me. What do you think? No, I fixed some typos already on the way. Do you have any other ideas what to do here? Because I'm very lost and I'm not sure if the night of sleep is not the thing that, if the night of sleep is not the thing that would solve that. But it feels way too complicated. All right, cool. Then this is more or less work in progress. And I'm gonna just put this one here like this. And in my setup, we should, let me move the setup up so that I can have it for that like the next time. We have the hello world at least running. So with the hello world running, done, it should still update. But the cool thing about today was still that in these 3 hours, I made it already to bring in a few Slackpot commands, which we have here. Let me just celebrate them for last time because I'm really digging it. So we can shave, yeah, which is nice. We can dress up, which is also pretty decent. We have the anime stuff, which is also nice. What else do we have? We have celebrate. And hack it. Hack it is also nice. And we have hack it. Cool. With this, thanks for hanging out. I do this Tuesdays, 8 p.m. CET. Thank you much for hanging out. Maybe we'll make it work the next time. So the goal for the next time is maybe to re-implement this chat component here with WebSockets and Twitch and maybe some React hooks, but we didn't make it work this time. But nevertheless, we made it to a custom chatbot that changes my camera, which I already think is super, super cool. All right, with that, thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight, and we will talk next week.